It's been 4 full days since that game. I am just so not ready to move past it. Good morning to you. Good Monday morning. I'm Dejan Kovacevic of DK Pittsburgh Sports. This is Daily Shot of Steelers presented by FanDuel. It comes your way bright and early every weekday. If you're into hockey and or baseball, I also offer daily shots of Penguins and Pirates in the same place that you found this. Steelers versus Packers is coming up. That's a Sunday nighter at Acrisure Stadium. The team itself will be available to reporters like me this afternoon on the South Side. This following a 3-day break that's mandatory after a Thursday game. And believe you me, there is no appetite for getting into Green Bay. Not yet. Not when all of that went so wrong defensively. Not when the same problems appear to be coming up again and again defensively. Not when there's one side of the football that's making clear, if gradual, progress, and we're seeing no such thing defensively. That's not to suggest that the offense is some perfect masterwork or whatever, but there's a split here, and it's a definitive split. Because what we're talking about is on the defensive side, I feel plenty comfortable expressing concerns that this will get addressed the way it needs to be addressed now. And I'm going to offer up 3 examples of things that I'm referencing. 1, this 3 coverage people thing isn't working. Sometimes it's the schematics and sometimes it's the people, but what nobody can call into question is the Steelers ranking 31st in the 32-team NFL in passing yards allowed, averaging 258.8. Did you even realize that? Did you get too caught up in how they're not very good at defending the run either? Well, this, my friends, is where everything was supposed to be anchored. From the back, you were supposed to be able to count on your 3 coverage people to get that job done without a whole lot of help. And from there, it was just supposed to be this Garden of Eden on all other fronts because you'd only need 3 people in the back. Well, see, then you face the Bengals, and Joe Flacco, Jamar Chase, and T. Higgins dice you apart like you were JV adolescents out there, even though there were, for a big chunk of the second half, 5 people assigned to covering the Bengals' 3 receivers when they'd go out. 5, not 3 coverage people, 5 coverage people. A tacit confession right there in Cincinnati on the field that this isn't working. Another point, when your defense is the only one that's getting gashed by some no-name, no-achievement running back, you've got a real problem that needs to be addressed a whole lot more powerfully than, hey, let's tackle better. I get that it was a Thursday. I get that there would be a plan entering a Thursday for a heavy rotation, especially on a taxing position like defensive line. I also get that there are people on that line who aren't getting their own individual jobs done as it applies to stopping the run. Yes, I'm referring principally to Keanu Benton, but he's not alone, and real changes have to happen. If that means surprising changes, so be it. If that means changes that we wouldn't have thought of before, so be it. If that means just plain old more people being utilized, kind of like what happened with the offensive line, do what it takes. Stop it. Stop letting people trample all over your defense. Attach the same sense of desperation to stopping the run that you did in Dublin to getting your own run going. And number 1, and by the way, out of all 3 of these, this one has the least chance of happening, but that doesn't mean it isn't worth expressing. Somehow try, in some form or fashion, to discern the difference between what your defensive coordinator is doing, and when I say defensive coordinator, you know by now that I mean some combination of Terrell Austin and Mike Tomlin, and what all the other defensive coordinators are doing. Because I can't be convinced that there's another coordinator on this planet who could coach this group of names, no matter what you think of their individual or collective performances in the 2025 NFL season. This group of names to a 31st ranking in the league. I don't care who'd be tasked with doing this. It couldn't be the head coach because, he's part of it. But when we see, hear, and read all these scathing and easily supported criticisms of the way this defense is coached, let's run this all the way up the flagpole here and wonder how Art Rooney, who's overseeing this, wouldn't think to himself, man, weren't we just super excited about this group? Didn't the head coach go public in suggesting it could be historic? I don't have to be Bill Walsh or Tom Landry or Chuck Noll in terms of football knowledge to see that there's a really big discrepancy between historic and 31st. And it can't possibly be all on the players. Maybe I should venture to learn more about this situation. Like I said, I'm not making predictions here. When we come back, J1Q. Luxembourg, Garbett, Kelly & George is a personal injury law firm in Western Pennsylvania that represents injured people in automobile accidents, workers' compensation cases, and medical malpractice claims. The attorneys at Luxembourg, Garbett, Kelly & George pride themselves in doing what they say they're going to do. It's important to them that when they make you a promise, they keep that promise. And this law firm has been keeping promises for over 80 years. Luxembourg, Garbett, Kelly & George has been AV rated. That's the highest rating a law firm can receive for legal ability and ethics. And the lawyers at the firm have been designated super lawyers, that's a real thing, for over 15 years. Rare combination there. Luxembourg, Garbett, Kelly & George has offices in Cranberry, Newcastle, Beaver Falls, Butler, and Elwood City. Learn more about them at lgkg.com or by calling 888-842-5454. Again, that's 888-842-5454. Football season's finally here. Time to check out the latest odds, futures, and win totals on the FanDuel Sportsbook. Think the Steelers are headed to the Super Bowl? Lock in your bets today. Whatever your game, FanDuel Sportsbook delivers the latest lines, futures, and specials so you can join in on all the action. For those of you who are doing real work in construction, in a warehouse, if you're a mechanic, you want reliable, comfortable gear to help you perform well on the job. Brunt Workwear's got you. They've got waterproof boots, safety toe, soft toe, pull-on, lace-up, whatever you need. You can wear them to work, and if they're not right for you, send them back. I don't know of any other brand doing that. Brunt was tired of the workwear brands out there cutting corners. You work too hard to be stuck in uncomfortable boots that don't hold up. So they built something better. Boots that are insanely comfortable and built for any job site. For a limited time, our listeners get $10 off. Just head to bruntworkwear.com. Use the code DK Sports and you're good to go. After you order, they'll ask you where you heard about Brunt. Do us a favor here at DK Pittsburgh Sports and tell them it was from this show. Today's J1Q comes from Jeff in Washington, D.C. So, DK, I don't agree with you that the pass interference calls against Joey Porter in Cincinnati were questionable. I don't like the pass interference rules any more than anyone else. They've diminished the game, in my opinion. But Porter has demonstrated over time, not just in that game, that he can't play effectively within those rules. I know he's fast and long and has all those tools. Great. He just can't cover. And as we saw again, his tackling and tackling effort is even worse than his coverage skills. Not blaming him singularly for the loss, but he ain't it. Jeff, I have a couple of prefaces before I address your broader point. One is that Joey was called for 17 penalties in the 2024 NFL season. That was the most of any cornerback in the league. 6 of those, you might recall, came, no coincidence, against the Bengals. That was in Week 13. Now, he expressed to me at the time that he felt like he was being targeted by the referees, meaning that they're just kind of looking at him in a different way. And sure enough, the other night, he told me much the same without my even bringing it up. Just said, in essence, that the Steelers have plenty enough in their secondary to get the job done as long as the referees would leave them alone. Now, to be fair, Porter's 2 pass interference penalties against the Bengals were his only 2 flags all season so far. To be further fair, he and I spent extra time after the formal interview session going over those calls, why he felt they were off, why the referee who was looking right at him from nearby didn't call anything, and the one way back at the line of scrimmage did. And between that and one really slight tug of a receiver's undershirt that didn't appear to impede the receiver in any way, I agreed that the calls were either misguided or ticky-tacky. So I'm not inclined at this point of the 2025 season to say, wow, his penalties are just killing this team, especially since those have been the only 2. Now, I don't like seeing that he is so far across the board being graded as a middle-of-the-pack corner. He wasn't drafted to be a middle-of-the-pack corner. He certainly wasn't put into this role to be a middle-of-the-pack corner. You know, the whole coverage people thing. He and Jalen Ramsey and Darius Slay were lumped into almost the same category, meaning that there was always something special there for Ramsey. There's no question that Joey needed to be and still needs to be something more than what he's been. He's allowed 9 catches on the season, which isn't great considering he's played in only 3 games, the opener and then these past 2. He's had 4 passes defensed. That's a nice number. He's missed 2 tackles. That's not a nice number, but it's also not the end of the world. And he's got no takeaways, no interceptions, no forced fumbles or anything fancy like that. It's not special. It's not good enough. And he's one of several players, individually speaking, who need to get better. And I'm glad you brought him up because he offers 1 out of 11, 12, 14, 15 examples of why the players also are deserving of blame. Everyone's going to be focused on the same 2 people when it comes to the defense. And I mean Terrell Austin and Mike Tomlin. But there are players who aren't getting it done. And there were a whole bunch of them not getting it done in Cincinnati. I appreciate the question. I appreciate everybody listening to Daily Shot of Steelers. We'll have a double shot of Steelers coming your way at 4 p.m. Eastern. Be sure to download the DK Pittsburgh Sports app. That's our app. That's where we do all our stuff. That part of it's free. If you want the really good version, the one with no ads, the one where you can communicate with the reporters, myself included, the one where you can be part of our global commenting community that's now spread to more than 150 countries, email me directly, dk@dkpittsburghsports.com. I'll respond to you personally with a massive discount, like a ridiculous discount that you won't be able to say no to. dk@dkpittsburghsports.com. Thanks so much for being here today.